German company Winkhaus, and no lecture, we've been here for quite a few years. This is our AV2 lock, which is starts off with a manual lock, but you can then add power to it at any stage that you want to. So when we first launched this, lads, it's actually a disabled lock. If you know about multi-point locks, you don't have to know. With most multi-point locks, when you close the door, you have to lift the handle up before you can turn the key. Well, not all the old dears could do that. So Winkhaus came up with a lock over 20 years ago that allowed the old dears for replacements as well. You could just close your door and then your hooks would fire automatically without you having to lift your hands.
Yeah.
Are you with me? And especially if a door gets a bit old, lads, you'll know that it swells and it does whatnot, and you have to really force it up before you can turn your key. So that's what this is firstly. Before you talk about the electronics, as you close the door, it's got trigger catches, you know, at the top and the bottom, and these are the ones that catch on the key. Dead simple. All you do is close your door and Bob's your uncle, all that's fired automatically. Yeah. We then found out that later on in life, some of these old dears may need to have access control and stuff like that added to the door. So the whole point of this lock was you fit it to start with, and then if you found out later on that an old dear was the situation had deteriorated, she probably was in a wheelchair or she needed to put access control to this. Every one of our locks has 3 screw positions on it here, which you can then screw a motor to afterwards. So you will see the AV2 lock being used in many, many situations before without no power, and then you will see it being used with power in different instances. So first of all, it's a manual lock, meets all secure by design. As you close the door, those hooks fire. And when those hooks fire, by the way, they're anti-pushback hooks. So that's where you start to see a lot of these being used on fire doors. Because on a fire door, when you actually test the fire door for fire, all you do is you close the door, you don't lift the handle up or do anything, you simply close the door and then set fire to it. But of course these hooks, because they fire automatically, they give the fire door much more chance of lasting longer in the fire. So then these locks, automatic locks, have started to become the lock of choice for fire doors as well. Does that make sense? So that's why we're starting to see a lot more of these. Now in terms of the electrics, you screw a motor to it. It's only a 12-volt motor that's gets screwed to the face, right? And the cable goes through into a 12-volt power supply unit. And what happens when we can go into more details on the electrics in a second, but essentially what's happening is the door closes, hooks fire, which meets past 24 because this has been put in a door set in a test rig. And then when you apply power to it, all that happens is the drive strip behind lifts up and then lifts these hooks back. So let me show you what's exactly happening here. So as I apply the power, you'll see the hooks just go back and they stay back, ready for the door to be closed when they fire again. That makes sense, James? So it's a very simple process. And then access all the time, because it's a manual lock, from the inside, most people would fit a handle to this for egress. So if you're going to use it as a communal door or a bedroom door or whatever, from the entry side, so from the exit side, you can always fit a handle to it, which means you can override all the electrics. Now that is which I understand is part of the situation today, that there probably wasn't any handles fitted to it.
That's correct. So we talked about it would be a dummy handle.
Yep.
And yeah, you couldn't see it. And then I think I spoke to somebody at Winkhaus and they suggested that actually it needed to be an operational handle anyway.
Okay, so if you're coming into the apartment or you're coming into the communal door, you'd either have a fob, which I'm just representing as a bell push here, or that could be a reader of any form, digital pad, digital entry, whatever you want to do. So from the entry into the building side, it's a simple press button activity, which gets you in, and then from the inside, you always just press your handle and you egress out. So all I need to know is how you want it. The lock has been designed so that you can operate this however you want to operate it. In terms of fail-safe, like this is the situation today, if there's a power cut, well, the product was designed for security to start with. So if it's a power cut, what we tend not to want is anybody getting into the building. We tend to want people to get out. So at the power cut, this is a fail-secure product, so nobody can get in. The door stays like that. So if there's a power cut, it stays locked like that. Yeah. But from the inside, for egress or escape, normally there's a handle on the door, so anybody can just get out. If you want to try and get back in the building in case of power, in case of power failure, then you do need to reintroduce some sort of power to the locking system.
The issue is,
Or you need a key to get it.
as you're describing it, it's great, but the issue is that door